My name is Dave Ball. I'm with Second Muse and the Aquacelerator team from the Blue Economy Challenge, initiative led by the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, their department at Innovation Exchange. What we're here today to talk about is the advancement of global adoption and scale of the 10 most inspiring ideas surfaced during the Blue Economy Challenge. I'm super thrilled and excited to be joined by Sunil and Wilco. Sunil was a council member who joined us in Perth at the Kickoff Summit, and Wilco is one of our 10 innovators representing AgriProtein.
Always wanted to be in aquaculture, got working in it, discovered there was a lot of problems and I wanted to get involved in solving problems. So I have a history of working with innovation, new technologies in aquaculture, and most recently I did 3 years at a feed company where I worked with innovators also because feed's such an important part of the aquaculture picture.
So what do we get up to at AgriProtein? We do three things. We take in waste that would normally head it on its way to landfill, organic waste streams. We transform that waste and we make really valuable proteins from it. There's a certain amount of fish in the sea. We're taking more and more out of them each year. We take them for ourselves, which kind of works, and then we're starting to take them to feed animals. As Sunil said, there's been a drift from chicken and pig feeding into aquaculture. That's not because chicken and pigs don't enjoy it anymore. It's because the price has doubled, trebled, and then I think 5 times it's gone up. It's doubled itself in the last 10 years. So we can't afford to feed it to pigs and chickens anymore, or the farmers can't. Let's not beat around the bush. Fish meal is an extraordinary product. It's really good. It's really, really good. But it's not sustainable. And we've got to start eating fish ourselves and not start feeding fish, or not carry on feeding fish to animals and fish.
Fish have to eat every day, and farmers have to feed them in fish farms. And for those farmers, the cost of that feed in intensive aquaculture, as a rule of thumb, is 60% of their total production cost. So it's a huge bill for them. They have to consider it an investment. They need to get a return on that investment. They have to use it very efficiently. It has to be effective, so it has to be fully utilized by the fish going into growth and health. And what's happened is that in recent times, the fish supply is not meeting. We use fish meal, in fish feed, and that fish meal that comes out of the sea that isn't used for humans, that's small bony fish, that fish supply, which has been flat, is not sufficient to meet aquaculture's demands. Historically, it was used in pigs and chickens. As aquaculture grew, aquaculture started to use more and more of it. Now hardly any of it's used in pigs and chickens. It all goes to aquaculture, but aquaculture's growing so fast, we're not going to be able to supply it there. So where innovators like Wilco come in, and others, is in finding substitutes for fish meal and fish oil. So that means we need proteins and oils, the omega-3s, which we at present don't really get from anywhere else. And AgriProtein's approach with insects is one of the ways forward.
Roughly, we can argue, and some people do argue a little bit about the numbers, but roughly by weight, 50% of all the fish that gets taken out of the sea each year gets used to feed us as humans, and 50% by weight goes to make feed for animals and other fish, and that's just not sustainable. So what did? We really didn't try and solve a fish meal issue. We just tried to see what we could do to alleviate a little bit of pressure on the supply chain of feed ingredients, because again, as Sunil's mentioned, the really expensive part in any farmer or aquaculturalist's day is finding feed to grow the animals that they in turn sell to market.
Sunil, you've been a part of this process all the way back to the selection of the 10 fellows who make up the Blue Economy Challenge. I know on a personal level, you're really excited to work with these types of entrepreneurs, but what has that experience been like, both from the selecting and choosing the ones that you thought would have the most impact, but then also attending the Kickoff Summit in Perth, and now working with folks like AgriProtein over the last 5-6 months as part of the Aquacelerator.
When the Blue Economy Challenge came up and I was asked if I'd get involved, I was really, really excited. A, because it's working with innovators, which I love doing, but B, because of the, you know, what the ultimate aims were, which was to be working in the Indian Ocean Rim, helping communities in that area to develop themselves through aquaculture. So it just fit right into my life ambition, I guess. Wilco, as a, you know, personally, I got on very well with him. I hope that everybody did, but, you know, very likable person, very lucid in the way he talks passionately about what he does. And that makes it so much easier to work with this kind of organization, because if anything, you just have to sort of hold them back a little bit rather than pushing them forward, you know, because the enthusiasm's there. They've got the platforms around them with technology, you know, that Olaf, the engineer, was there. They've got the accounting, they've got philosophy of where they want to go, and it's a question of pulling everything together. What we've discussed with Wilco is actually sending samples of his material to our mill in Thailand so that we can do some tests there on tropical prawns, for example, and also in Stirling, where they can do the test that we would normally do in Australia on cold water species like salmon. And that's where we are. We haven't done those tests yet, but that's where we want to go next. I just mentioned the other thing that has happened on the side is that I've recently left the feed company. I'm still working with them in some sense, but I've left them to join a new aquaculture business accelerator and seed farm called Hatch that I'll be leading. And Wilco is a mentor on that program. So we'll be working together within my new role as well. What we're seeing is there's a lot of great technologies out there coming in looking for funding, much smaller amounts, not necessarily large amounts like Wilco was talking about, smaller amounts, but the venture capitalists are seeing that they're just not investment ready. Some of them aren't even business ready. They've just got a great idea that's patented or patentable. And so there's this big gap there that there's no one focused on filling it. And we want to fill that gap by finding these great technologies that are going to improve and or sustain aquaculture. And we want to take them forward and make them investment ready so that they can be follow in the footsteps of AgriProtein and scale up and grow and address the problems or challenges the aquaculture industry faces.
It's been awesome, and we've really learned a lot. I enjoy Sunil's way, which is like mine. It's very relaxed but very driven too. It's relaxed in the room, but you know, real action comes from it. And if you hit a dead end, as we did with some of the importation issues in Australia, then you just either say, well, we're at a dead end, or we can go around it, or we stop and pause and think about it for a little bit. But we really would like to drive through some of that shrimp trial work and see what we can do in Thailand. We know how darn good our product is, specifically in the very juvenile stages of development of animals and fish. But we kind of need to do a bit more work to find out why it's so damn good. And we've got the test results that say it's good. We can prove it's better than anything else out there. But what is it that's doing that? And we're starting to hone in on the opportunities that sit inside the good guts that are created by the lauric acids. So that's some of the technical stuff. And what else are we up to? I guess we've got to keep having fun, really, because if you're not having fun in life, then not much point in doing whatever you're doing. So those are our 3 big drives: get some cash in, do some great more science, and make sure we carry on having some fun.
For everybody out there joining us, happy World Oceans Day. A big thank you to Sunil and Wilco for joining us. Please visit us at theblueeconomychallenge.com, and you can also follow us on social media at #Aquacelerators.